friends, and welcome back to 155 Books. My name is Shannon, and today I'm really excited because I am doing one of my most anticipated videos, one of the videos I get most excited about for the entire year, and that is basically an autumn TBR, but more than just an autumn TBR, because this is going to be my TBR for Victoria's Autumn Reading Challenge. So if you're new around here, which you're probably not, obviously Victoria from What Victoria Read has recently been doing these sort of like seasonal reading challenges. I think it all started off with the summer one where it was like different booktubers and prompts, and that was really cool. And I've never actually been able to complete one, and I love autumn so much, and I've basically been living for this video and her to announce the autumn reading challenge. I'm going to link everything in the description box, so you should definitely go and check out her original video where she shares the prompts, and there's a link to the prompt page, which I'm going to put up here anyway. I would like to do a little disclaimer. So as a slow reader, there's no way I'm ever going to finish 24 books in 3 months, and that's okay, and I'm okay with that. So Victoria is running a sort of like prize/competition with the reading challenge. For that, if you want to take part in that, you do have to read one book for every prompt, so you can't double up. I'm just taking part for fun and really would love to finish the board, and in order to do that I am going to have to double up. So what I have done is basically picked one book for 2 prompts, which actually made it more fun because I wasn't just picking a book for each prompt. I kind of had to make some of the books match 2 prompts, and then I had to do some kind of like Tetris moving around because there were certain books that I'd already picked for 2 prompts, but then I had another book that I picked that fitted one of those other 2 prompts better, so then I had to sort of like juggle it around, but I did it and I'm very excited. So rather than going through the board, I'm still going to go through the board kind of by prompt starting at the first one, but because obviously I've picked 2 for each one, you'll see it gets kind of confused. But I'm basically going to show you the book and tell you which 2 prompts it fits. And yes, I'm very excited. So let's get into it. So the first book is To Be Read at Dusk by Charles Dickens. And this is one of those Penguin classic minis or shorts, the Little Black Classics. I've had this on my TBR for ages, and it's one of those ones that I've been saving to read in the autumn-winter months, so this is perfect. I think I've also, because I'm super organised, not only made my TBR, but I've also listed which books I'm going to read in each month. So I think this one is listed to read in November, but this one fits the prompts of, it's a backlist book, obviously it's Charles Dickens, and this one I'm going to try to do the sort of match your drink to the cover for this. It's either going to be a mug that is similar to the colours of this, or it's just going to be a drink that I that I drink at dusk. So I feel like I'm going to read this at dusk and drink my drink at dusk, and then that's kind of, you know, that one done. I may also pick one of the other books in my pile and maybe like triple up for that, but I don't really want to do that, so that's this one. The next book I have picked is All Our Hidden Gifts by Caroline O'Donoghue. So this is going to be my first Caroline O'Donoghue book, and people have been screaming at me for ages to read something by Caroline O'Donoghue, and I'm very excited about this. I've heard really good things. As I was reading the prompts when I was watching Victoria's video, this one jumped out, I think a couple, and then the second prompt, I had a feeling in the back of my head that there was that kind of representation in this, and I did a bit of a Google and I was correct. So this one is obviously the prompts of a book that features magic, because this one, I do believe it's a young adult, and it follows our main character who finds a dusty old pack of tarot cards and starts giving people weirdly accurate readings. I think this is at school, and there's something to do with her ex-best friend, and then she goes missing, her friend goes missing, and yeah, it's, I guess, kind of mystery magic all mixed in, and I've heard that the representation in this is amazing. So you've got LGBTQ plus representation in this, and also disability rep. So this is the two prompts will be magic and disability rep. The next book I picked is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, which I think is very fitting because I was actually going to unhaul this. I did a Trash My TBR video, and Victoria had just recently read this, and she told me she loved it and she thinks that I would really enjoy it. And we have got very similar taste in books, so that's why I kept a hold of this one, but I still haven't got around to reading it. I think it's been a really long time since I've read a historical fiction, and also the font is small, which kind of put me off a little bit. But again, this is one that I plan to read in November. I think I'm going to read this one last. But this one fits, again, two prompts very, very nicely. So this was obviously a book with leaves on the cover because it's got this lovely gold foiling here with leaves and the bird and the rose, and it's also on the spine. But it also perfectly fits rain on the cover, or in the title. No, not in the title, just on the cover. Because you can see there's rain all over it, so that's just perfect. Like I mentioned, it's a historical World War II, I believe, historical fiction novel, and it follows two sisters, and that's all I really know. And I do believe these two sisters, it's just sort of that they have two very different experiences of the war, and like I say, that's all I know. It's all I want to know going into this, but I'm excited to hopefully finally be picking this one up. The next book I picked, obviously this TBR would not be complete without some Shakespeare, yay! So I picked All's Well That Ends Well. Yeah, it's a Shakespeare play. I love a Shakespeare play. I read them quickly. And obviously it's Shakespeare, and he's one of my favourite authors. So this one obviously fits the prompts for a book by your favourite author, and the one with the title starts with AUMNT, so what spells out autumn, because it starts with an A. So perfect. So next book I've picked is one I'm going to read on my Kindle, and that is Christmas at the Little Cornish Bakery by Jennifer Bibby. So I read Jennifer Bibby's, who's also my colleague at work, first novel in the summer last year, and loved it, which was called The Cornish Hideaway. If you're looking for like a small town romance, and it's just a really good romance and lovely people in a small town, I would highly, highly recommend it. I'm very excited to read this one, because obviously I know it follows like one of my favourite characters from the first book and their romance, and I'm really excited to see how they, I guess, like, it's basically got to do with a vicar in this one, the romance with a vicar, and I'm excited to see how they like overcome that, basically. But this book I've obviously picked for the prompt of seasonal read because it's Christmas, yay, exciting. And of course it perfectly fits the other prompt of set in a small town because it's a small town romance at Christmas time. Yeah, I just love how they doubled up so well. Like I say, it was just so easy, and I picked books that I really wanted to read anyway, and this is definitely one of them. But seeing, like I say, how perfectly they fit not just one prompt but two, I've just really been enjoying that. The next book I plan to read, I actually picked out before I saw the prompts for the reading challenge because I had a feeling that it would fit one of the prompts because I know Victoria very well, and obviously representation is really important. But I had The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett on my TBR for a really long time, and I think I lent it to someone, or I lent it to my mum and she maybe gave it to the charity shop by accident, not realising it was one of my books. And since then I haven't replaced it just because it feels kind of wasteful replacing it, but I haven't stopped thinking about it because I still really want to read it. So for this one, it's obviously the BIPOC author, because the author is black. I think she's black American, and I think it's set, I don't know, it's one of those ones that a lot of people have said go into it not knowing a lot. I don't know if it follows twins, but my mum's read it and loved it, and I know a lot of people have loved this book, and I really, really want to finally read it, even though I don't have it anymore. So of course I'm going to get it from my library, and that fits the other prompt of a second-hand or borrowed book. The next book I picked is Waist Deep by Lena Meyer Ernst. So this is obviously translated into English from the Danish. So that of course fits the prompt for fall or autumn, read a translated book. And this one also fits the prompt of a book with a body on the cover, because as you can see, it's got some people on it, some half-naked people. They're in bikinis, and it's not just one, it's 3 bodies. Yes, and this is, I think it follows 5 friends from university, 7 summer days in a lakeside cabin, troubled romance, flirtatious friendship, and an aching sense that nothing is ever truly perfect. This is basically everything I love in a book, so I cannot wait to pick this one up. I think this one is going to be one of the ones I read in September, so yes, yay, while it's still hot and kind of summery, I guess. The next book on the list is The Wolf Den by Elodie Harper. This is a Roman retelling, following a slave in Pompeii, I believe, and most of the people who I trust have loved not just this one, but the other 2 books in the series too, as it's a 3-book series. I was waiting to pick this one up until the other books were released, so that I could probably read them in quick succession. And obviously they have been released now, so I can do that. But this one is over 400 pages, so it fits the scarily big a book over 400 pages prompt, which is perfect. And this is also a new to me author, because it will be the first time I've read an Elodie Harper book. So yeah, I think we're about halfway through the books now, so I want to quickly talk about the self-care prompt, which is the 25th one. This can be a bookish prompt as well, so it can be 25 books if you want to read a book for every single one. But for this one, I've decided to basically do anything on the list that I made. I made an autumn to-do list because it's not been a great year, basically, and I love autumn and I just wanted something to look forward to. So I made a list of fun things, basically, that I want to do in autumn, and essentially if I finish any one of those, then I will have completed the self-care prompt on the reading challenge. The next book on my list is The Secrets of Heartwood Hall by Katie Lumsden, who is Katie from Books and Things. I can't believe I still haven't read this. It's been on my TBR for far too long, so I'm very glad that this book perfectly fits 2 prompts on the reading challenge, as it of course fits the prompt for a house on the cover, because there's a house, and also a house technically in the title, and this is going to be my spooky book. I don't necessarily know if it's going to be spooky, more sort of like gothic, but gothic and spooky to me are kind of the same thing. And also the mini review up here says vivid, haunting, surprising. So haunting I'm taking as spooky. The next book on my list I knew was going to be my reread book, without even thinking about it, but I was also very surprised because I hadn't realised or had completely forgotten that there's an animal on the cover of this book. And I also remember when reading it, there is a scene and it makes sense as to why there's an animal on the book, but I have since forgotten that scene and why there is an animal on the book. I think it's a dead animal, which is sad, but the book I'm talking about is If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. So this one of course fits the prompts for a reread and a book with an animal on the cover, even though the animal is looking very sad and dead, but furry. The next book I picked not only fits the 2 prompts, it fits 2 prompts right next to each other, as does the last book on this list, which I really like. It just makes me like, oh, that's perfect. But the book I have picked is the omnibus for volumes 16 to 18 of One Piece. I think I talked about One Piece in my last video and how it's become a new obsession. I want to read this one. This is the one that my boyfriend got me for my birthday, because it's Chopper's sort of like origin story or introduction into the series. And I know it's probably going to make me feel lots of things, but it's going to make me cozy. So this is the book I have picked for a cozy read or comfort book. Because One Piece is definitely like a comfort thing for me at the moment. And it's also continuing a series, as I have read a couple of the other volumes earlier in the series. I've not read them all up to this point, but I'm still counting it as continuing a series, because technically I am. And the last book on my list really does fit the random pick prompt really well, as I'd realised everything else I hadn't picked any non-fiction. So for the random pick, I knew I wanted to pick some non-fiction, and I knew I wanted to read this one soon, so it's the one I picked, and that is The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. So this is getting a lot of, so it had a lot of hype when it first came out and everyone was talking about it, and now, quite rightly, I guess, people are questioning the theory and actually whether it is helpful in some circumstances, and yes. But obviously, because I haven't read the book, I can't really engage in the discourse on that. So that's why, like I say, I would like to read this one sooner rather than later. And I think this one is going to be very perfect for the last prompt, which is match a book with your favourite Halloween treat, because it's green. And my favourite Halloween treat is probably going to be the Aero Mint Bubbles. I mean, they're not really Halloweeny, but I don't really like Halloween sweets because they're always got weird colours to them and it makes me feel like they're going to taste weird. But I love Aero Mint Bubbles, so I'm probably going to eat them as a Halloween treat, and they match this book, which is just perfect. Those are all the books I am going to read for Victoria's Autumn Reading Challenge. Like I say, I'm so excited, and I had already thought of some books to include, and I love how the doubling up worked, and I love that I'm also have, like I say, decided which books I'm going to read in which month. So basically, roll on September, because I cannot wait. Please let me know if you plan to join in Victoria's Autumn Reading Challenge, and if you have uploaded your TBR yet, or if you're going to, so I can keep an eye out for it, because I just really want to see what other people have picked. I'm basically going to end this by saying, roll on September, roll on autumn, I'm so ready. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you soon in my next video. Bye!